So hey there, happy Vlogmas. I'm going to share with you one of our favorite holiday treats. It is something that my family's been making for generations, and we only make it between Thanksgiving and Christmas every year. No other time of the year is it acceptable to make nuts and bolts. Now you can buy a version of nuts and bolts at the grocery store. It is not good. You have to make it homemade. It's super simple to whip up. You can have it in the oven in under 5 minutes, but it has to cook for an hour and a half, and it needs to completely cool. So this is a 2-hour project before you can enjoy my nuts and bolts. So this is how we do it. And if you hear my husband yelling in the other room, he is watching Kentucky football. The dogs are wrapped up in blankets on the couch. Everybody is hunkered in today because it is super cold outside. So it's football and nuts and bolts. So it's a mixture of pretzels, Cheerios, wheat chex, corn chex or rice chex, and peanuts or cashews. Totally up to you. And you need a total of 8 cups of any of those ingredients. Peanuts and pretzels are our favorite, followed by Cheerios and then the chex. So that's how I combine everything, but just total of 8 cups, however you want to do it. In a regular baking sheet, just start putting in all your dry ingredients. Cheerios, wheat chex, corn chex, peanuts, salted, unsalted, cashews, your favorite nuts, whatever you like. Oh, we're just going to use them all. And I do have my oven preheated to 240 degrees. So now that all my dry ingredients are in my baking pan, I'm just going to take my hands and just toss them together and set those to the side. So take your measuring cup and you need vegetable oil, Worcestershire sauce, hot sauce, Sriracha, garlic salt, and garlic powder. Into your measuring cup, you want to pour in a half a cup of vegetable or canola oil. And I know when I've shared this recipe with you all in the past, some of you said that your family makes this, but you use real butter. I tried that. I did not honestly like it as much as just regular vegetable oil. I felt like the butter weighed down the pretzels. When I make it with vegetable oil, the pretzels stay light and crisp. To that, add 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. 1 teaspoon of Frank's red hot sauce. And a couple extra dabs just for good measure. 1 teaspoon of Sriracha and a couple of extra squirts for good measure. Then I need 1/2 tablespoon each of garlic powder and garlic salt. So mix your wet ingredients really, really good, and we're gonna add it on top of this. So just keep it mixing so the Worcestershire sauce doesn't sink to the bottom, and just pour it on. Go about halfway, give it a good toss. And pour on the rest. So all of your pretzels and dry goodies should be just coated in that seasoned oily goodness. And we're going to pop this into our oven, which is preheated. We're going to pop this into our oven, which is preheated to 240 degrees. And we're going to let this cook for a total of 1.5 hours. And every 30 minutes, you need to toss the nuts and bolts. Keep everything turned and rotated really good, and your house is going to smell amazing. So I don't honestly remember how nuts and bolts became a Christmas tradition in our house. I just know that from the time that I was a little girl, my great aunt used to come over with my cousins and a lot of my mother's family. Everybody would come to my mom's house for a family get together, and my great aunt would show up with nuts and bolts. So it just became a Christmas thing. It is not the holidays to me if we don't have nuts and bolts. Randy and I love to sit around and snack on this stuff, and it really is the best snack with an ice cold glass of Coca-Cola. That is the best way to enjoy nuts and bolts. These honestly will stay fresh if you keep them in an airtight container for about a week, but we will gobble these up in a couple days and just turn around and make a whole nother fresh batch. I'm going to show you this recipe written in my very own recipe book. This is what it's looked like for 30 something years, and then Randy and I like our nuts and bolts to have a little bit more spice, some hot, some garlic, a little bit more things. And so over the years, I've added some notes, and that's the recipe I'm sharing with you all today. So when your timer goes off after an hour and a half, you are going to be so tempted to dig into these nuts and bolts, but don't do it because you're going to be super disappointed. I don't understand why, but for some reason, when the nuts and bolts are hot, you can't taste all the seasoning and the spice and the garlic. You're just going to take a bite and go, well, we didn't do this right. That is what happens to us every single time, but I promise you, once they've cooled down, and they're still a little soft right now from being in the oven, but if you just leave them alone, walk away, come back in 30 minutes when they're completely cooled down, this will become your new favorite family holiday treat. Promise. But that doesn't mean you can't take a little sneak peek nibble. They're hot. And everybody in our house has a different way that they eat nuts and bolts. I like 2 pretzels, 2 Cheerios, 1 Chex, and a peanut. That is the perfect bite for me, but everybody does it a little bit differently. So that's why it's so great to have all of the different ingredients in the pan, and everybody just does their thing. You can spice it up, you can spice it down, you can add different ingredients, however you want to do it. This is the basic recipe. This is how we like to enjoy it, although I do love cashews in mine. Today we just have peanuts at home, which is fine. So I hope you enjoy my version of nuts and bolts. It's something you should try at your house. I bet your family will love it. See you later.